Hello and welcome to another Rise Stream tutorial video. I don't have too many of these. I don't know why I said another. But either way, I felt compelled to make this video because I struggled with this at the beginning of this game. And I wanted to kind of maybe help people out that really, you follow the tutorials, but there's a few things that they leave out of the tutorials. So we're playing a game called Flight of Nova. This is a space trucking simulator type game. Uses Newtonian physics, and that makes it very, very hard to kind of get into orbit with an object and then dock with it. At least at the beginning. Once you get this down, though, you'll be a pro and you will know what you're doing. So here are the procedures that work for me. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do this. There's no set way to do this. It's kind of fun to figure it out on your own too, but if you're just trying to get it done, check out this video and hopefully it helps you. All right, first things first, always, golden rule in this game, refuel. You always want to make sure you're full of fuel. Even when you're just starting out in the game, they always start you with like 50% or whatever. Anytime you land on a landing pad, make sure you refuel. We also are going to go up to the greenhouse for this one. Now this will work basically with any orbital object. There's a few orbital objects up there that have different altitudes. As you can see, you could always look at your velocity and altitude. Those are important for your orbital objects. You want to know how fast it's going around the planet, and you want to know its altitude. So as you can see, the greenhouse is going 7,838 meters per second around the planet. They all travel pretty much easterly, so keep that in mind as well. And it's at an altitude of 185 kilometers. So here we go. Let's meet our launch window. We're gonna undock. We're gonna hover off of the pad, and we are gonna face east. Now, if you're in a mission, you will have a target to go to get into orbit. We are not in a mission, so if you're not in a mission, face east and try to get it exactly east, because that will definitely help you out for this. So as you can see, our compass on the main center screen there is saying east. There we go. There's also objects in the sky already that might be able to help you out. Switch to your cruise mode from VTOL mode, and you're gonna want to set your angle of elevation to 30 degrees. You want this to be about 30 degrees. If it's not exactly 30 degrees, then you're fine. Your angle of elevation is right there on your HUD. It is in the top, it's in the middle left part of your HUD, AOE. That is your angle of elevation. You want to get that to about 30. So get that up to about 30. Like I said, doesn't need to be exact, but 30 degrees is where you kind of want to be at. Make sure you're going east and just continue your burn here. We're going to get up into the upper atmosphere. And then once we get to about 40,000 meters or 40 kilometers above the planet's surface, you're gonna start to see some things change here. So until you get to that point, you wanna just keep your burn going here. Take a look at the beautiful, beautiful views as well. There's our greenhouse, we can already see it. There it is closing in on us. So keep that in mind as well. It is behind us right now. And my guy is blacking out. I would recommend maybe turning down the volume on the G-force warnings, because you're gonna be, you're gonna be hitting that a lot. All right, now as you can see, we're about 42,000 kilometers. Things have changed on the screen. Here's what we want to look at next. Okay, look at your HUD. Look down at your apoapsis. There it is, apoapsis. That is the first listing there because it's very important. You want to get that to 185,000. So keep burning until you're at 185,000 on that apoapsis, okay? Now, when you pull off the throttle, you'll notice it just freezes. So once you get it to about, 180, 182, just give it little short controlled burns till that reaches 105. Or 185, I'm sorry, 185. There you go. There we go. We are now launching in orbit, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get back to regular view there. Next thing you want to do is kind of nose down until your angle of elevation is at 5. We're going to nose down. That's just above the horizon. We want to keep that at positive 5. Okay. So just nose down a bit. There's our angle of elevation, about 5 there. Once you get 5, lock it in with your kill rotation. Oops. Right about there. There you go. And then you want to wait. What we're waiting for is our FPA to reach 0. So that is your flight path angle. Okay. Your next thing is your flight path angle. That is that orange just above your altitude. That is that orangish FPA with the number. You want that to reach 0 degrees. Okay. That's what we want next. So when that reaches 0 degrees, your apoapsis is at 185K. Your angle of elevation is at 5. And your FPA is going to be at 0. So just sit here and float. You can take a look around. Absolutely beautiful as we're getting up into orbit here. Very, very pretty. So we just want to keep an eye on our FPA. Now, if you're at the external view here, what is that? Oh, the greenhouse just loaded in. Okay. So the greenhouse is going to come flying past us here, I have a feeling. So if you're in this view, you want to take a look at the top left-hand corner of your screen for your FPA to reach 0. But I would recommend being in the cockpit view anytime you're doing an orbital entry, just because all of your information is right in front of you and you can see where exactly you're heading. Okay, there's our AOEs a little bit up there. Just keep it at 5. You may have to nose down a bit while you're at this stage of the game. And just keep an eye on that FPA. As soon as that reaches 0, we're going to do our second burn here. Or maybe third burn, depending on, if you're counting that first step, it's getting out of the lower atmosphere there. All right, there's the greenhouse closing in on us. We're actually set up pretty good here. So that FPA is almost 0. Almost 0. And you'll see why you want to keep that angle of elevation at 5 in just a second here. As soon as we start our burn, that angle of elevation at 5 is going to keep you at that almost 0 flight path angle. So you want, while you're doing your second burn here, you want to keep your flight path angle at about 0. You don't have to. That is optional, but I like to. It creates a more perfect orbit, and you don't have to worry about other complications down the line. So you're doing like a jump to the other side of the planet in orbit. You want to keep that FPA at 0. All right, but for this, it doesn't matter if you're a little bit off. So just keep it at about, try to keep that FPA as close to 0 as you can. This is what we're going to be burning to. You want to keep an eye on your speed. You want that speed at 7,800. So as you're keeping an eye on your FPA, 7,800 is what we're going for here, okay? That's where you want to do your full stop, 7,800 meters per second. There it is. We just made it to 7,813 meters per second. Almost right on the money there. And there you are. You are now in orbit. If you're just looking how to get in orbit, you can end the video here. That's how you do it. But we're going to show you how to get to the greenhouse. This is what the game doesn't really teach you in the tutorials. You want to get to that greenhouse. Now, we're lined up pretty good. Sometimes you'll end up, if you did the steps right, sometimes you'll end up even 150 kilometers away. But the principles for the next steps are going to be the same no matter how close you end up to your greenhouse. First things first, after your orbital burn, once you're in orbit, as you can see, your relative velocity, which is that RV underneath your target there, where it says GRN 188, RV, which is your relative velocity, is negative 125. We want to get that in the green. We want to get that in the green. So how are we going to get that in the green? By doing a slight little burn towards it. Now, you don't want to burn too fast towards it, but you do want to burn towards it. So there it is. It's in the green now. We're gonna burn up until we get to about 1 kilometer per second. So we're just gonna keep burning here till we get to about 1 kilometer per second. Now that yellow circle you see, that is your local direction. That is local to your nearest target. If you see that yellow circle, you are close to something, and that is your relative direction to it. So there you go. Now what you want to do, turn around. We're going to do an opposite burn. We're coming in really hot. Turn around. You want to find your anti-local. We're going to burn towards anti-local until that anti-local moves away from what we're doing here. So as you can see, I lost track of it. Oh yeah, there's a space station right there. Okay, just keep burning towards that anti-local. We overshot it a bit, not a big deal. Until that anti-local starts slipping away, that means we are at about the same speed as the greenhouse. And look at that, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the most beautiful things in this game. Floating at the exact same orbital velocity as the object, or close to it. It just looks amazing with the planet moving in the background like that. So just to give you your bearings here, we are currently floating at 7,826 meters per second around the Earth in the same orbit as the greenhouse, all thanks to that anti-local. That's how you get to the same speed. Just burn towards that anti-local. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit closer. So we're still 10 kilometers out. We're not out of the woods yet. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to burn towards it. Just short controlled burns at this stage in the game. Just until we're heading in the direction of it. Since we're only 10 kilometers away, we don't want to go too fast. Okay. And then to slow ourselves down, burn in the opposite direction, which is the anti-local. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get in the external view and we're going to keep an eye on this thing. And as soon as we get, you know, to where the closest point we think is, we're going to burn in that direction. We're already set up for it. You can use your kill rotation liberally here. There's the object. Now let's burn towards that kill, or burn towards that anti-local until we're matched up with it. And how do we know we're matched up with it? When that anti-local goes away. There it is. There it is. Now, at this stage in the game, we're probably, I would say, about 5 kilometers away. It'll tell you on your screen. When you're close enough to it, though, it will stop telling you where on your external view, you know, it'll stop giving you that information on the external view. You can always get that information on your internal view. So on the bottom left hand, or bottom center left screen there, we can see exactly how far away we are from it. We're 3.3 kilometers out, or 3,300 meters out. We're also a relative velocity of 5.64 meters per second. Let's just head towards it a little bit. Now, at this stage of the game, we don't want to go more than maybe 20 meters per second in the direction of this thing, because obviously it would be very hard to slow down. So at this point, what you want to do is use your navigational thrusters. Take your hand off of the trigger, off of that trigger, okay? From now on, you want to use your navigational thrust, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to get right on in there. Let's do it. So speed up to maybe, what are we going right now? Yeah, we want to maybe get to about minus 20 meters per second on that RV. You can see the RV down at the bottom of the screen there. There's RV. And as you can see, we're coming in nice and slow. This is a nice entry. Keep an eye on that yellow circle. You kind of want to line up that yellow circle with where you want to be. Now, what I would do is use your directional thrusters to kind of move that yellow circle around. At this slow speed, it will move it around quite nicely, and maybe aim at the target you want to be at. You also, if you're coming in at a weird angle and you're afraid of hitting something, you could always move that target just off of center of where you want to go. So that way you won't hit anything on the way in. But I'm pretty confident in our speed. I'm confident that we can slow this thing down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start slowing it down right now. Now, the next thing you want to do is when you're getting to your dock, if you're in a mission, you're going to have a specific dock assignment when you get close enough. I'm not currently in a mission. We're in free mode right now. So we can dock anywhere, really. We're going to slow this bad boy down. I'm going to orient myself with the dock using those controls. Once again, keep your finger off of the thrust. Oops. Oh, we are coming in hot. So I'm going to hold up on the D-pad to kind of do a retro burn here. And turn ourselves to the left a bit. Hit those reversers. We go. Hit the A button on the controller to go forward. I'm using an Xbox controller right now. Down a bit. Right a bit. This is just beautiful. This game is absolutely beautiful. Forward a bit. left a bit, and down we go. There you go. Once you're on the plate, hold the down key on the D-pad. That'll keep you against the plate. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We are docked. Rule number 1, refuel. Always refuel. That used about a little over half our fuel for that orbital entry and navigation to the greenhouse here. So there you go. The next part of this video starts right now. Here's what we're going to check out now. How do we get back to the planet? This is one of the hardest things you could possibly do in this game. So what we're going to do is we're going to take on a mission just so we have a waypoint down to the planet. Now, if you're in free mode, you will not have a waypoint back to the planet. It's almost impossible to find any place you're looking for if you're going back down in free mode unless you pick a mission. So we're going to pick a mission. 90% of the stuff you're going to be doing in this game is a mission anyway, so if you're doing the alpha missions. So let's pick a mission. Here we go. We're going to do a mission. Let's see. We'll just do the first one here. A package of snacks is requested at platform A44. Oh, those are local. I'm sorry. We want to do the surface missions. I'm sorry. All right. Next thing what we're going to do is we're going to do a surface mission. The Cobalt 9 at 1:30 Monte Perez is waiting for a thorium container. Okay. Ships are not compatible with that. The only one that's compatible with our ship is this one. So we're going to do this one right here. Accept the mission. And I'm going to show you how to get back down to the planet there. Let's do it. So first things first, once you pick up your cargo, you're going to have to wait for the launch window. So make sure you're repaired, make sure you're refueled. And what you want to do is, if it's not already on top, go to re-entry window and go to time acceleration. And we have an hour until our departure time. So I'm going to pause the video here. We're going to wait this out. Okay, we're back. We now have 48 seconds until our departure here. So we're waiting for the launch window. Now, what you want to do is, once again, make sure you're repaired, make sure you're refueled, and get ready to undock. Now, what's cool about this is you can click this cam view button and enjoy these beautiful views while you're waiting there. But it is now time to get down to business. So what we're going to do is we're going to fast forward a little bit longer here. There we go. All right. Now, the goal for this is not to speed up, but to slow down. As you guys know, when you're going up into orbit, you're blasting off, you're speeding up, you're trying to get up to speed with this stuff. The whole point of this is to slow down. Now let's undock before we miss our window. And once again, don't use your afterburners anywhere near this station. And what you kind of want to do is kind of orient yourself with where you want to go. Okay, so let's get away from this station. Step 1, get away. Okay, get away. Need to get away from this. So, make sure there's no objects in your way. Push yourself very slowly away from the... Step away from the space station. There we go. Okay, that's pretty good. Because we are going to be slowing down. So, as you know, the space station and yourself are heading east. Okay, so... Now that we're kind of away from it, we're not going to worry about hitting anything. Second thing you want to do is orient yourself with your target, which should show on the ground as that blue diamond. Okay. And as you can see, our direction of travel indicator is not really near. It's not over top of our target. So our target is a little off center with the equator here. Okay, or off center with our current orbit. So we're going to keep that in mind for later. You don't have to worry about that right now, but we'll keep that in mind for later. Next thing we're going to do is, don't worry about that anymore. That's just going to float away. Next thing we're going to worry about now is slowing down. So how are we going to slow down? Well, here's the magic number that I've found. At about 180 to 185 kilometer altitude, I find that starting to slow down from orbital speeds at about 850 kilometers from your target. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait until that target right there, okay, that's right in front of us, says 850. Okay, here's what you also want to do. At this point in the game, turn around, and you're gonna look for a blue X, okay? Now you should have a little bit of time to do this. As soon as you get away from the station, start doing this. Look for that little blue circular X directly in front of us. That's what you want to aim towards, okay? Now what that's gonna do is that's gonna slow us down enough to start our atmospheric re-entry, okay? And we're gonna slow down to about 3,000 meters per second, okay? Get away from the space station, head to that blue X circle in the opposite direction of where we're going, and wait for 850 kilometers. Now, what we want to do, you see how our direction of travel is offset? If it's directly over top of your diamond, don't worry about it. But since it's a little offset, we want to offset too, because that's going to put us right over the center, right over that blue diamond. We don't want to land over there. We want to land over there. So how do we do that? By creating our own offset. So kind of eyeball up how much that direction of travel indicator, which is that blue circle with the 3 lines coming out of it on the in space there. Line up how much offset there is and kind of create your own offset, okay? So maybe about there, okay? Directly to the left of that blue target there. That's going to bring that right over top. You'll see it in just a second. So create your own offset, okay? About the same amount of distance in the sky as that. We're at 960 meters, 940, I'm sorry, kilometers, 920 kilometers. We're gonna wait till we see 850 and we're gonna burn, baby. There it is. Let's start our burn now. It's about 870 there. Now this is gonna be a full stop burn. As you can see, our speed, our velocity is decreasing on the bottom left-hand corner there. As you can see, that direction of travel indicator is moving to the right. You see that? Now, obviously, if that direction of travel indicator was right over your target, which it is sometimes, you would want to just burn straight towards that blue plus, but since it isn't, we're going to burn a little bit offset from it. Now, you want to kind of correct every once in a while to keep yourself level on the horizon with that. And maybe move yourself over a bit as well as that closes in. You can see our direction of travel indicator is starting to line up. As soon as that's over top of it, we're going to change direction here. Keep an eye on your speed. Our speed is now 4,000 meters per second. That is now lined up right over top. There it is. Look at that. See that direction travel indicator? Quickly rotate towards that X, and we're going to burn directly towards that X now, okay? There we go. There we go. Let's get ourselves down to about, I would say about where that direction of travel indicator is going to touch the horizon. All right? We want that to touch the horizon. Keep an eye on your speed. Don't go too low, because you'll undershoot it. There we go. 2,500 meters per second is good. And now we're going to let gravity do its thing. As you can see, we've only used a little less than a quarter of our fuel. That is a good thing, because we might need our fuel if we miss the target down there to fly to it. But right now, about 2,500 meters per second, we're stopping our burn right when that little direction of travel indicator was a little bit above the horizon there. Like I said, it won't be exact every time. Each re-entry is a little bit different, but that'll get you in the general area of where we want to be, okay? So next thing's next. We can start to turn around. Before we get too low, why don't we turn around? Okay, I don't think we're going to need to do any more reverse burns. As you can see, we're already entering the atmosphere. The air density will start popping up. We have air density now. So let's line ourselves up with our target. And the air is going to slow us down. Now, as we get closer and the air density is low up here, you are going to notice your speed increasing. That will increase. Don't let it get above about 3,000 meters per second. If you start to get above 3,000 meters per second, you're going to want to maybe do a reverse burn. But I think we're going to be okay. Keep your nose tilted up slightly. I like to keep it about 20 degrees-ish. I don't know if that's correct, but that's a good place to keep it. That'll add a little bit of wind resistance for our re-entry. As you can see, our direction of travel indicator is falling below our target. That means we're going to fall short of it. Let's add a little burn. Just a small one to keep ourselves from falling too short while we're up here, and we can make the most ground for our air resistance here. Our air density is low up here, so we can cover the most ground with a burst. Look at that. You just want to keep your direction of travel indicator as close as you can to your target. If you're floating a little bit to the left there, don't worry about it. If it floats up and off screen, don't worry about it. At this point in the game, you're okay. And as long as you're under about 3,000 meters per second, you're just fine. You're not going to burn up. Even though you're turning red, you're not going to burn up. And there you go. Look at this. We are within 30 kilometers of our drop zone here. Keep that nose up. I'll slow you down. And now we're just going to drop on in, okay? Look at that. Look at that. Unbelievable. At this point in the game, I think you could kind of nose down. You're pretty much in the atmosphere now. Now, it's going to get hard to control here. So, what you want to do is you just want to kind of just keep your nose down. If you're at this point, if you overshot it like me a little bit, just keep your nose down. It's going to be real hard to try to turn around, okay? So don't even try until you're a lot lower, okay? So we're still 30 kilometers above the surface here, okay? Now, we have plenty of fuel. Just for time purposes, I'm going to do a burn towards the surface. Just keep an eye on your speed. Don't go over, you know, 2,000 or 3,000 meters per second here. There you go. Once you start turning red, it's a good idea to stop. And there we are. We're under the clouds. Look at that. Pull up. We're only 40 kilometers away from our target, which is excellent. If you're within 100 kilometers of your target, you should have plenty of fuel if you did all that correctly to get to your target. So there it is. Not my best re-entry. I usually fall within, you know, 15 to 20 kilometers of it. But 35 kilometers, obviously, is more than good enough. So there you go. That's how you do your atmospheric re-entry. And I guess I don't need to land here, but I'll just land for the purposes of the video. There you go. Hopefully that helped you out. If it did help you out, make sure you tap the like on this video. Likes help me out as well. That'll get the video in front of more people who are interested in this type of thing. So I appreciate you tapping the like button, guys. And thanks for watching. Well, that was all for nothing.